right about Trump. Quote, the way that you build a truly vicious nationalist movement is to wed a relatively small core of belligerent idiots to a much larger group of opportunists and spineless fellow travelers whose primary function is to turn a blind eye to things. We may not have that many outright Nazis in America, but we have plenty of cowards and bootlickers, and once those fleshy dominoes start tumbling into the Trump camp, the game is up.
Well, following today's Senate Finance Committee vote to advance RFK Jr.'s nomination to serve as HHS Secretary, a ton of news reports came out alleging that RFK Jr. had settled sexual misconduct allegations. We're learning more about how much money was behind those settlements. And we'll get back to those comments RFK Jr. made on the Ring of Fire in just a minute. That was the video we just showed you. But first, it's important to know that Mediaite learned that a woman who accused RFK Jr. of sexual misconduct back in 2020 was paid almost $1 million as part of a settlement that came along with an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So according to Mother Jones, who also reported on this story, on Friday, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., responding to written questions from Senate Democrats, revealed information about his personal history that was not yet part of the public record. He had settled at least one case in which he had been accused of misconduct or inappropriate behavior. Kennedy also acknowledged that he had been party to at least one non-disclosure agreement, but in that reply, Kennedy provided no details about these allegations. He only offered a one-word reply when asked if he had ever been accused in such a fashion. Yes. Now, again, Kennedy didn't provide Democrats with a total financial amount of these settlements, nor did he indicate that the misconduct or inappropriate behavior was. However, sources have told Mediaite that one of the women who accused Kennedy of misconduct worked with Children's Health Defense, an anti-vaccine nonprofit Kennedy served as the chairman of until he announced his run for president in 2023. The payout was a high six-figure sum, under $1 million, sources said. So it was close to $1 million, but it was under $1 million. Now, will Republicans care about these allegations, the settlement? We don't know. It depends on which Republican you're talking to. However, they might care about Kennedy's past ties to the Democratic Party. For weeks, conservative-leaning groups, activists, and policy groups have been privately sharing links to Kennedy aide Stephanie Spear's past social media and blog posts that show her support for Democratic causes. 3 people familiar with the messages tell Axios. So Spear, who has been referred to as RFK Jr.'s safety blanket, serves as his executive assistant, scheduler, and manager, and has known Kennedy for more than a decade. So she shares an interest in activism on environmental issues, and she has some skepticism on vaccines as well, obviously. I mean, she works closely with RFK Jr. However, MAGA is concerned that she could potentially stray Kennedy from the Trump agenda to a more left-wing agenda. So are these two things at all tied?
Yeah, so look, couple of things. First of all, they found out that his close advisor was on the left. So was Bobby Kennedy. So where's the question?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? And if you talk to MAGA guys, which I have committed the crime of doing, you'll find out that they're actually kind of proud that in their mind, it's not only right-wingers, that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is an environmental lawyer, etc. And they brag about that. See, it's a big camp, and Tulsi and all these guys. Now, I think Tulsi's kind of always been an opportunist / right-winger, but Bobby Kennedy Jr. was a real Democrat, and so was Spear, etc. So, okay, but it's not news. So when they're leaking that he's associated with Democrats, we already knew that. So, but they're trying to create anger towards him, right? So, and by the way, don't get me wrong, I don't believe him when he says, "Oh yeah, Senator Cassidy, vaccines and autism, no link. I don't know what you're doing." No,
they're gonna tell you what you want to hear.
Of course, yeah. And then when he goes in, he's gonna do whatever he wants and thinks is right. Okay, but here we go again with the sexual misconduct. Whenever any industry, corporation, donor wants to sink someone, sexual misconduct. Now, in the case of Bobby Kennedy Jr., as we've talked about many times, they usually look for a needle in a haystack, but that brother's got a haystack full of needles.
He does, yes.
Right,
yes.
I mean, he's got every kind of personal issue in the world, but two things can be true at the same time. While I oppose him on other grounds, and while I think he does have all of those issues, they are coming to get him. And it looks like it might be right-wingers coming to get him, at least in the politician and consultant and lobbyist crowd. And if they do get him, I hope MAGA notices that it was their own slimy politicians who took him out on behalf of pharmaceutical companies, etc. All right, thanks for watching this free clip of Old School. Don't forget to become a TYT member today for the rest of the show and for more exclusive content throughout the network. Join now at tyt.com/join.